time trying to make this vlog. First couple of times, my kitten kept knocking over the camera, and then I just recorded like 10 minutes of awesome information, and I hope I remember it all, but our old 19-year-old cat decided to pee on the carpet just as I was doing my vlog, and I had to pick her up and put her in the bathroom. So you can tell me all your suggestions for keeping a cat from peeing, but she's just senile. There's nothing wrong with her. We switched her food recently, and I think that's what's made her mad, but she needs to be on a special food. So anyway, today's vlog is about my bangs that keep turning into cowlick because I'm trying to grow my hair out. Not really, but have you noticed that in my videos? Oh my gosh, they drive me nuts. Reasons why I wear a wig, right? You can see yourself in a vlog and you just see your hair the whole time, and I'm just like, ah. Anyway, today's vlog is about what you should charge as a mermaid. I get asked this all the time. It is not an easy question to answer. There's actually a lot that goes into it. So when people just ask me, hey, what do you charge for a birthday party? What I charge in Nova Scotia is not going to be what you charge in Florida. And what I charge for what I do, having had a company and a business in one way or another for like 8 years with my education, is not what you're going to charge. And there's a million reasons that go into that, which we are going to discuss. If you have my book, you can follow along on page 111. If you don't have my book, you get my book. Fishy Business, How to Be a Mermaid. Fishy Business, My Life as a Mermaid. I have a third book coming out that's going to be a workbook, and it's going to be awesome, and I hope you'll buy it and support it, because I just want to support you and help you all be better mermaids. That's why I do these free vlogs, right? I just want to take the whole community and help raise us up and get our businesses legitimized and have people see us as professionals, right? So, on page 11, what to charge in determining rates, I'm just going to keep a peek at my book. I'm not going to read it all to you because it's like a whole bunch of pages. I'm just going to use it as like my framework. A lot of things go into determining what you should charge. When you pick a number for charging, a lot of people want to pick an hourly rate, and I don't think that works for this kind of work. I find people will exploit you if you do this, and I find people tend to charge not enough when they do an hourly rate. They say, I'll do 50 bucks an hour because I'm used to working minimum wage, and 10 bucks an hour is a lot less than 50 bucks an hour, so if I work 4 hours, I'll make 200 bucks, and that's crazy. I make 200 bucks in 1 hour. Don't charge 200 bucks for 4 hours. Come on, people, you deserve to make more money, and the thing is you're not paying yourself all of that money. It's going for expenses, and it's going into your business. So I'm going to tell you the things that you need to think about when you're coming up with a number for your packages or your parties or your event. Travel expenses. When you're given a client a quote, are you traveling really far? Does your package already include? So some of my packages, actually all of my packages, the price for gas is already built into it. But if we travel more than an hour outside of the city, they have to pay an additional fee on top of that. And we determine our fee by what the government pays its employees for driving. So it's a certain, in Canada we have kilometers, so it's like a certain amount of money per kilometer, and usually like 50 cents or something. So yeah, I end up charging, like for things that are more than an hour away, it's usually like 20 bucks additional for gas. Depends on where you are and how things work, because an hour away distance-wise in Nova Scotia is actually really far. An hour away somewhere else, if you're sitting in traffic the whole time, may not actually be as far and may not actually be as much gas. It just depends, right? Performers insurance or business insurance. Please have some type of insurance. I'm going to have to do a vlog just about insurance. I actually want to interview my insurance agent for a vlog. Gary, if you're watching, you rock. Let's make that happen, because not enough mermaids have insurance, and here's what's going to happen. You're going to screw yourself so bad if you don't have insurance, and you're actually going to screw everybody else in the mermaid community. Pardon my language, but it's true. Because it's only going to take one incident to ruin it for everybody. And don't you want to be protected? Like, if your tail gets stolen or damaged or lost, or if you get hurt at a gig and then you can't work or something, or you hurt somebody else, God forbid, or you damage property, like, don't you want to have a safety net so that you're not sued and, like, responsible for all of that? Insurance is not that much, my goodness. We have like a company of 5 with like 5 mermaid tails, and our rates do go up every year just a little bit, but they go up in terms of how much our company is growing. So what I paid when I had 3 mermaids is not what I pay when I have 5, which makes sense, right? But I think it's something like $1,300 a year, which breaks down to like a little over $100 a month, which sounds like a lot, but we make enough gig money that like half a gig will cover that price, right? You being 1 mermaid by yourself or 2 mermaids or whatever, it's going to be less. It's just so much better to have it for all the reasons I listed, but also a lot of venues will not take you. A lot of pools will ban you if you don't have insurance. You can get around those tail bans if you have insurance. And a lot of clients won't take you if you don't have insurance. You're too much of a risk, right? It's really standard in the performing industry. It doesn't have to be performer's insurance, because performer's insurance is like a different thing where you charge insurance and pay for it based on individual performances. That may not work if you're running a business. You may want limited liability business insurance. The thing is most insurance agents will give you a quote for free. So just go contact a whole bunch of them, tell them what you do, get some quotes. You're going to hear the cat meow. We put her in the bathroom because she's peeing everywhere and that's where her litter bin is, and she's going to be really mad. So you're going to hear her in the background. Yeah, so performer's insurance. You want to be able to cover long-term the cost of your website, your hosting fees, stuff like that, a portion of your communication fees if you're using your internet to contact clients and advertise your business and your phone and stuff like that. You want to pay your assistant, your merwrangler, your photographer. You want to be able to pay for a meal or two if you guys are traveling. If they're not able to comp it for you, then you need to make sure that what you're charging them allows you to feed people. If you're bringing materials and treasures and gifts and makeover and face paint, you need to be able to pay for that, or any other services that you offer. You want to take the length of the event and what is required of you into that. And if you have additional mermaids for you, you need to be able to pay them a fair rate. So none of this, I'll just charge $50 an hour. That's crap. Don't do that. It's bad. And you're just hurting yourself in the long run. One of the big things you need to not do is undercut people. You think that you're cutting people a deal and you're going to get more business because it's like, oh, that company charges $200 for an hour party. I'm going to charge $75. And you think you're doing yourself a favor, and you're not. You're lowering the whole standard for everybody. You're making it harder for everyone in the industry. But don't you want to be paid what everyone else is paid? So the first thing I do is tell people, go look at what your competition is charging. Look at what the mermaids are charging in your area. When I started, there were no mermaids, so I looked at princess parties, I looked at Lego parties, I looked at reptile parties where people would bring snakes and all kinds of fun stuff. I looked at like museum parties and theater parties and like how much did these things cost, baking parties, and I found that the least out of all of those that was charged was $125 for an hour. So when I was trying to charge $75 for an hour, I was massively undercutting everybody. So I brought my rates up to $125. So if I'm going to give you an example, my smallest package is $175 and my biggest package is $700. And they can actually go up from the $700 if we have to travel, or if people want to add more mermaids or more tails or whatever. So, but general range is between $175 and $700. So for a $175 party, that's 1 hour swimming, 1 hour dry. We're not doing as much for those parties as we would, say, where we're doing a 2-hour party and we're giving a lesson to 15 children and the client is renting 15 tails and 15 monophants, and oh, by the way, we want 15 gift bags and we'd like 15 makeovers, and we'd also like you to do photos and videos. You see what I mean? Like, you can't charge just $300 because that's, or $325 or whatever for all of that, just because it's 2 hours. Like, you need to, if you're doing packages, I suggest having a price per package depending on what you're offering. So if we take my $175 package, that's a 1 mermaid gig. If they would like to add another mermaid, there is a $75 fee, and that mermaid gets paid out of that $75 for that 1 hour. Everything else from the $175, I get paid some, Sean gets paid some, part of it goes towards insurance, part of it goes towards gas, and the rest goes into the bank account to cover expenses. I really suggest having a separate bank account for your business money. I know it can be like really intimidating and stressful and scary, but the thing is if you're a business owner and you don't have a separate account, you're going to end up spending all of your own personal money, which is fine when you start because you're investing, but you don't want to have a business like, this is what I got into. It's like 3 and 4 years down the road and I'm still fronting all the costs and everything and not keeping track of things well enough for the accountant. So having a second account made me keep all the business money in there. I could keep track of everything, and then I actually made sure that I wasn't spending my own personal money all the time, and I was able to say to my girls, okay, we need to pick up X amount of gigs to be able to pay for these expenses, so let's go out and advertise, kind of thing. So that really helps, having a secondary account. And I mean, honestly, if you're gonna go big with this and register your business name and go out and make this a company, like, you need a second account, and you should look into having an accountant as well. It's really hard to do it all on your own. You can probably do it all on your own your first, second year, but once your business gets big, it's really daunting. So we have an awesome accountant too, so I recommend that. Yeah, so for packages, like, that's what I would do. And, you know, I see people do things like, it's $150 for the first hour, but $20 after that. That's not helping you either, right? Because people are going to exploit that. They're going to book you for that first hour and then 6 more. And then you could have made like a couple of grand off a gig like that for the amount of work that people are making you do. So you just have to really come at it conscientiously and take all those things into consideration. Look at what people are charging in your area. It helps to literally make a list of what do you have to pay for. How are you going to pay for it? How are you going to budget it? In my 3rd book, I'm going to have a checklist that you can actually fill in, go through, check off the things that you need to pay for, budget it out into a spreadsheet, make a photocopy of it or print it out, and you're going to have it as a goal, right? For now, my 1st book has all the stuff we just talked about. Also, in the reference section, there are several websites that you can use as rate calculators. And a rate calculator does what I just said. You dump all of your stuff into a program online that's free, and it makes a recommendation to you based on your expenses and what you would like to be paid, how much you should be charging per hour or per gig. And I think I've got 5 or 6 of them in here. Yeah, rate calculators, page 154. My reference section on my 3rd book, by the way, it's already like that big because we have grown so much as a community. It's going to be crazy, right? Yeah, so you want to look at rate calculators. So just to sum it up, here's what you want to do. Figure out what your expenses are, write them all down. How are you going to pay for all those? Then you want to look at what everyone else is charging around you and do not undercut them. Even though you're brand new, that's okay. If you need to gain experience, do some volunteer gigs. But once you feel that you've got the experience, you're allowed to charge. Don't charge less because you're brand new. Charge at least what everyone else is charging. If you need to find a way to beat your competition, don't do it by undercutting them. Do it by offering services that they don't offer, or putting a unique spin on things, or being willing to do things that they're not interested in. And then the 3rd thing is you can look up rate calculators to help you as well. And you know what? If you have access to an accountant, like if you have a family member who's an accountant, or you've got a friend who's a business student, sit down with them and have them like help you figure out a good number. Your rates should increase every year because of inflation at the very least. They should increase. I started out at $75 for my first 1-hour package, and now it's up to $175, and that's been over a couple years. And you know what? It's probably going to make it up to $200 in the future because all of the businesses around me are raising their prices because we live in a really tricky economy here in Nova Scotia. But also, my team has become extremely well known. They're extremely talented. Our expenses have risen. So I think this will probably be the last full year, 2016, that we charge $175. Now, granted, you can use your discretion. We have a charity rate. However, we only take a certain amount of charity rate gigs per year, and we only take a certain amount of volunteer gigs per year. I'd love to be able to volunteer to do everything. I mean, I really care about everything. But at the end of the day, this is a business, and I can't do everything for free. It's not going to pay for itself. I don't have enough money on my own to pay for everything, you know, so I can't do everything for free. I usually plan out at the beginning of the year what gigs we're going to volunteer for and what gigs we're going to take at a discount. We talk to our board of directors, and we also talk to the other mermaids, and we agree as a team. We don't take gigs where people aren't being paid their regular rate unless we all agree on it because we believe in the cause. So that's usually things like, there's a couple of tourism events where we really want to see the area boom. So instead of like, you know, X amount of dollars per hour, we drop it down by like 50% or something, but then we collect tips and we kind of make up the difference with tips. Tips are a great way. If you're going to offer discounts for public events, tips are a great way to make up the difference. But I don't think you should offer stuff very often because I will tell you, people will exploit it. Word of caution too about donating to auctions. I've had some not so great experiences donating parties to auctions as well because people expect like the world for a very minimal price, and they're getting, you know, less than a client of mine would pay for a 1-hour party, and they're expecting like my $600 party value. And you can't control who is buying your party through the auction, and you can't discriminate, right? But I've had some great clients who donated, and bought a party through an auction, and I've had some not so great ones, and it's just, there's been too many not so great ones, so we don't donate parties to auctions anymore. Instead, we volunteer our time, or we volunteer for events, or we give charity discount rates. You should be keeping track of any discounts you give, because you can report all that to your accountant too. Invoices are really important. I'm going to have an invoice template in my next book that you can photocopy and use, or download and use on your computer, but there are also great templates online that you can just Google and find. It's good to have invoices, because then you have a copy of what's been said to your client, but it's also good for your references and for tax time for you to be able to go back and see everything. The laws are different in America than they are in Canada, and they're different in other places in the world, but you need to find out at what point you have to charge taxes. For instance, here in Nova Scotia, you don't have to charge taxes until you make $30,000 a year from your company. So we charge taxes, and I have to keep track of all of that. So when I tell someone a rate, hey, it's $175 for this party plus tax, that needs to be factored into it. And I need to report all that income, and I need to pay my taxes, although we're in that lovely in-between stage where we make enough to charge taxes, but we don't make enough that we have to pay them all back, so you get to keep some of that money, which is nice. The other thing is if you're using something like PayPal or Square Reader or a credit card reader or something, and it charges you fees, you want to plan into your overall budget of what you're charging people to compensate for those fees, because you are going to lose money, right? So you need to think about that. So that's my blurb on what to charge. I'm sorry that I'm not just telling you, hey, you should charge $100 an hour. Hey, you should charge $50 an hour, because it's not that simple an answer. You may have noticed in my last videos I've been featuring some of our mermaid tails behind us. This lovely tail is the She Creature tail by Merbellas. We bought this one used, and it was in some famous Wiki-Watchy photos, which is awesome. I brought this one out because I don't think people realize how big it is, or how heavy it is, or anything, and they think it's really beautiful and flappy and flowy in the water, but it's really buoyant and hard to swim in, and it's, you know, I'm a seasoned mermaid, and I find it really hard. Anyway, I don't even know if you can see how big this giant thing is. Let's take a look here. See this, like, in comparison to my head. It's a huge fluke. You don't understand. It's like 4 feet wide. It's ginormous. Because it has a foil monofin in it, I can fold it, which is great for traveling. But holy cow, it is so heavy. And so, like, we can't lift it like a normal fluke. We pose in pictures and it takes like 3 people to move a mermaid. But it's really gorgeous. We use it in the Aquatron right now for a study. Look at this ginormous thing. Yeah, I just wanted to give you a little look at it. For the end of my vlog, I just wanted to give a shout out to Little Orca, aka Melissa Mermaid. She sent me a beautiful mermaid. I forget what you call this type of craft. I guess it's crochet, but I think there's a certain type of word for when you're making dolls and stuff out of it. Anyway, she made me this. It's beautiful. I love it. And the thing is I got it yesterday, and I was it yesterday or Monday? Monday, and I wasn't feeling that great, and I was kind of like sad and tired and worn out, and had like a bad cold all weekend, and I came home and found this in the mail, and it was just like, oh, I just want to cuddle it. It was so thoughtful. She also made me a beautiful card, which I have on my wall at work, so I can't show it to you, but she left me a beautiful quote inside, and it was just like really thoughtful. So some other stuff, updates. I got to be in a video that CNN did about mermaids, and they did it in like a really beautiful way, in a nice light, and painted us really great. So there's some underwater footage. I think I mentioned in my last video, maybe I didn't, but Sean got to be on the cover of the paper. We had a couple other articles come out. We have another one coming out. If you haven't checked the YouTube channel, we have videos from our study at Dalhousie on there. Really cool stuff there. Yeah, it's just crazy. There's so much stuff going on. I'm opening a local swim school. I've been doing a mobile one for like 6 years, but now I'm opening one locally in Dartmouth, which is like so exciting. And I'm really excited because I'm using my teaching background, and I sat down with a the outcomes for swimming lessons, and I tailored them specifically to mermaid work and monofin safety and all this stuff, and I'm working with a swim instructor, because I'm not a swim instructor, even though I'm a professional mermaid who swims. I never did get my certification for being a teacher for swimming, although I actually have a degree for teaching, actually two. So I'm cool there. Anyway, I sat down with this professional and sent them my pitch and approved it on the first try, which is really exciting. No changes needed, and I'm really confident in what we're doing, and that what we're doing is going to instill a sense of responsibility and safety and really make monofin swimming safer here in Nova Scotia. And I'm hoping it catches on, and I hope we get a little media coverage that covers that monofins can be safe to use, right? As long as you use them properly. That's the big thing. Make sure you're not telling people that they're totally safe, because they aren't. They are a risk. They just need to be used properly and safely, right? Right. Alright, anything else? No, it's 20 minutes. I love you very much. Thank you for watching my videos. Charlie says meow. I don't even know where Pinky is. And thank you for everything. Check out the Facebook pages, halifaxmermaids.com, rainamermaid.com. Check out my blog, rainamermaid.weebly.com. Check out Mer Network for forum information on how to be a mermaid. Check out makemeamermaid.com for my books, my other vlogs, my text-based tutorials too. I usually post discount codes for my books on Learn to Be a Professional Mermaid, which is a page on Facebook we started. Any other pages I can think of. I am Raina Mermaid on Tumblr, I am HFX Mermaid on Instagram, and HFX Mermaid on Twitter, and obviously, you know, my YouTube, you're watching it. Charlie. Thank you so much. Guess what? These braces are coming off soon. Sparkle, sparkle. Just trying to get rid of this overbite. It's almost gone. Almost.